Welcome back to Madam Crossing New Horizons. I'm dear darling. Shall we see what's going on? And I love a little island of Fawnhollow today. So just adjust everything, you know. To get in position, you might say, hey, do this beforehand. How about, yeah, I probably should. You thought I was going to say something rude and sarcastic. Well, lucky for you, I didn't, because you are right in this weird context. Not this weird context, it's a sexual context. Straw men that I've constructed in my head. Mr. / Mrs. Scarecrow, Mixed Scarecrow. Oh my word, that's my Steam controller falling off. You might ask, how's your Steam controller falling off? It's because I'm putting it on Rubik's cubes. Well, they're not actually Rubik's cubes. I guess just those puzzle cubes. But anyway, hello everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow, it's 4:50 PM on Wednesday, June 23rd, 2021. And I have to really speak of today, so I'll go about our usual business. Farming up little missions, maybe putting down some paths. I don't know. We've got to, we'll just sort of see how the wind treats us. Where the wind blows. Anyway the wind blows. Yeah, we'll probably finish putting down the wintry pass we got over there. On top right. I forgot to actually throw away some letters, so maybe we should do that. My dear hunt, oh, we've got this one. Multiple times ready. Let's just scroll down. Let's find some random one we can get rid of. Seen art like this, we've definitely not had that before. I'm pretty sure we've had this one before. Mirror. This one we've definitely had before. Mirror. Yep, definitely had that before. Okay, just to make some room to make sure we can get some more letters as they come in. We know who our visitor is. It's Leif. I've got the tiniest glimpse of him in the title screen. You got something for me? Thank you very much. What should we talk about today? You know what I was thinking about? Because my father collects stamps and that sort of thing. He's sorting out his stamp collection right now, which I thought was pretty cool. Oh, we can actually give stuff to you, you know? Like, collecting stamps or collecting, well, anything really. It's a very sort of, like, nice, like, chill hobby, isn't it? You know? It's one of those, like, I'm not sure if it's inexpensive, mind you, because I suppose it sort of depends on how expensive the things you want to collect are, but collecting any XYZ, whatever, you know, stamps, coins, seashells. I don't know what else other people collect. Tickets, train numbers. Isn't that used to be a thing? That's like a thing you always read about in like a Victorian era novels or something. Just like some kids just go down to a local train station and then we got like a notepad and then they just like write down train numbers or that something, which might sound particularly odd to you right now, but maybe even sound odd back then when we did it. But you know, I can understand the appeal of it. You know, and I myself I like to be a collector of sorts. I don't really necessarily mind too much about collecting like the whole entire thing of like I had to collect one of every single object in whatever medium or market I'm thinking about, but I can certainly understand the appeal of collecting things en masse and having the satisfaction of being able to look at an entire collection, like for example on a bookshelf or something like that. Give you a present, one of our fossils. We should have kept another one of our fossils. I don't know why I didn't keep the other one, but there you go. But yeah, like collecting stamps, collecting coins. Of course, if Howard does them. I think Ali collects coins, maybe. Well, I'm not sure how much he does it. So he doesn't really talk about it all that much. Not like in a always embarrassed sort of way. But I suppose it's not something which comes up in regular conversation all too often. And if it does, it's sort of like what do you talk about? I suppose you can be like, oh, look at this cool coin I found, and you know, if you're really into it, you can explain history behind it. But if you're someone who's just, I suppose, into it for just like there's a bit of fun, you know. And perhaps you don't know so much history behind it, and both are equally valid, I think, you know. Collections of any sorts, no matter the size. I mean, collections have to start out somewhere. Like, I'm sure, as with many communities, there's probably a vocal minority subset who always, like, try and gatekeep these sort of things and be like, oh, you call that collection, blah, 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 blah. Whatever, you know? If you run into those sorts of people, you just could be like, alright, I mean, you just walk away. That's what I do. It's what I would do. Theoretically, I mean, obviously easier said than done. That's sort of it. It's a sort of thing where, you know, everything's valid. Well, I mean, every collection has to start off somewhere, and every collection is valid. You know, if you're sort of a person who's interested in getting started in like stamp collecting or coin collecting or something, eventually you're going to have a first stamp. You're going to have a second stamp, and you're going to have to have each one of those all the way up to like your 10,000 stamp or whatever. And even if that first stamp is something which is super basic, like, you know, the generic 5 pence stamp that you can get out of a post office nowadays. I don't even know if they're 5 pence anymore. They were when I was younger. I haven't sent a letter for like ages, to be honest. I don't really need to, because I'm just like, oh. Like last time I sent a letter, it must have been back in uni. I was like, hey, I need a letter. Like, you have a stamp? And my dad was probably like, yeah, and he gave me a stamp, that was about it. I didn't even have to buy it, obviously. We just had them. I remember back in primary school though, we had a thing about where we had a thing to send off a stamp, and I remember the like third class stamp or whatever cost 5p, and the second class or first class stamp, it might have been third and second or second and first, I can't remember, cost 20p. And we like wrote out a letter to, I don't remember who I wrote it to, maybe I wrote it to our house, probably, is how that lesson went. And I cannot tell you what I wrote in that letter, it's completely gone from memory. The only thing I remember is when we were like getting ready to have a trip to a post office as, you know, a class of like 4-year-olds or 5-year-olds or whatever, and we were like, everyone make sure you got the money that your parents gave you ready, and if you have 5p if you got the second class stamp, and 20p if you got a first class stamp. I think I just had a 5p. I mean, the difference between 5p and 20p is not a lot, unless you're doing some mass postage sending in the first place, so, you know, thanks to Her Majesty's Royal Service for having an affordable postage system. But I just remember thinking at the time, being like, wow, why do I need a 20p stamp for first class delivery for a letter which I'm sending to my own home, you know? It felt, even back then, I suppose I couldn't get rid of the analytical part of my brain, which is just like, you know, come at it from a reason of logistics rather than, you know, just to experience, I suppose. But that was probably the first time I sent a letter. There was another time I sent a letter. Remember, like, those chain letters, those Guinness World Record chain letters things, which happened back in primary school? At least it went around in our school. I must have talked about this before. One of my friends was like, hey, let me send this letter to you, because this is... What? Oh, it's just been a while since we last spoke. Let me send this letter to you because it's a part of the longest letter chain ever in the UK or something. So, like, it started off from one person sending a letter to, like, 5 other people, who sent a letter to 5 other people, who sent a letter to 5 other people. And if, you know, you're not, like, 8 like I was back then, you'll probably be like, hey, this kind of sounds like spam, doesn't it? And yeah, you're right, it is spam. That's what it was. But at the time, I was like, wow, I want to be part of this, like, Guinness World Record longest chain of letters, which is questionable how they would even track, and they've even got explicit things on their website saying, hey, we don't track this sort of thing. So, you know, me being the naive, I say naive, like, in a degrading way. It's not a degrading way. I mean, I was a kid, for Pete's sake. What was I meant to do? Be like, oh, you know, this obviously isn't a thing, but I just psychically know that somehow. Do we need fossils? I don't think we need fossils. Or maybe we do need fossils. We don't. I definitely need it for the gift, and I spent mission-wise. Sell things, olive flounder, hot item, DIY project C. That's a really awkward set to do. But what was I saying? Sorry about that little pause there. I was talking about, like, stamps or something and sending them off. I can't remember what I was talking about sending off the stamps. I remember I was talking about that one lesson I had where we basically learned how to send stamps. It must have been a nightmare for a post office to process, actually, now I think about it, because we had a class about, like, 30s, about the usual size of, and primary school classes in Britain is at least, well, somewhere from 20 to 30, our school was 30. It's taking 30 kids who all have individual letters and then, like, having to teach them every single time, being like, oh, can I see your letter? No. What stamp would you like to buy? And they go, like, first class or something, and then they give you, like, 5p. Maybe it wasn't even 5p. Maybe it was more expensive than 5p, and just in my mind it was 5p, because that's how it was. It's probably not 5p anymore, but it's got to be at least like 10 or 20p now, is what I imagine. You know, inflation and all that. Not good for the economy. Well, maybe it is. I don't know. I'm not really an economist, so let's maybe not make snap judgments and that sort of thing. But yeah, what was I saying? It was something I wanted to have, like, an addendum. I wanted to have those stamping. Oh, like collecting stamps. Yeah, I mean, it's a quaint thing, which I can certainly see the appeal of. Would I ever do it? I don't know. I don't know what I would collect. I mean, I guess I'm kind of like part way about collecting plushies, but the thought of having to spend like hundreds and hundreds or whatever on just like getting like full completed sets of certain plushies or something just makes me go, I don't really want to do that, to be honest. I do like plushies, but you know, I don't want to, and I'm not a plushie hunter, mind you, and, like, I'm not invested, I suppose, in the history of certain plushies or anything like that. I just like, You know, I see a cute plushie I like or a cool plushie I like. I'm like, hey, I want that, and I buy it. And that's about it. Extent of my thought process when it comes to that sort of thing. And then, you know, do I need the entire collection? Not really. Not really. But I suppose that, you know, it's kind of different when I play video games of that sort of thing. I'm a bit of a collector of that sort of thing. I like to, like, you know, get all the achievements, get all the upgrades and that sort of thing, and then I find I'm just like, perfectly, now it's time I can finally mess around in the game with all the tools at my disposal. And then I immediately stop playing the game, so, you know, it sort of defeats the point in the first place, doesn't it? It's like, now I can finally enjoy the game, and then I never play it again. Like, right now I'm playing a lot of Binding of Isaac Repentance. If you don't know, it's excuse me, it's a massive update. Oh, sorry. People gotta stop asking if hot dog is a sandwich. Just eat your lunch, man. Truer words have never been spoken, Pascal. But I'm playing a lot of Repentance, which you don't know is a huge update to Binding of Isaac, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. But part of me is just like, you know, is it the fun I'm having with it right now is because I'm unlocking things, I'm collecting things, you know, to add to my collection. I'm doing all the captures and doing all the unlocks, and then once I get all the unlocks, am I just going to never play again? Now, the reality of the answer probably is I'm probably not going to get all the unlocks, because some of the characters are insanely difficult. Like, shout out to spoilers if you don't want Repentant spoilers and for some reason haven't played it yet already. The Tainted characters, some of them are insanely hard. Like, Lost is pretty difficult in the first place, but I've actually gotten a lot better since I last played Binding of Isaac. Now I realise, and, you know, I understand mechanics a lot more. I can certainly feel like I can squeeze out quite a few lost victories. I was very, very close to finishing the true ending. I haven't really tried the alt ending on most characters. I've only tried it on Judas for some reason. I don't remember why. But Lost certainly feels doable to me now. Is basically my the premise of that. Let's put stuff away. Let's sell some stuff because I have too much stuff going on in my inventory. We don't have enough coconuts, so let's get some coconuts and then make them and sell them. Yeah, the truth of the matter is I'm probably not going to get all the unlocks because Tainted Lost is absurdly difficult. Like, I haven't even played him yet, but I've seen Northern Lion play him, and he looks insane, is what I'll say about that. Tainted Jacob and Esau, I haven't unlocked yet. I haven't even played Jacob and Esau yet, who are also quite difficult, but they look kind of fun in, like, a goofy way. But Tainted Jacob just looks miserable, to a certain extent. Or at least, not the type of playstyle that I would particularly like. We need to make this pitfall. I actually completely forgot about that. We'll do that and we'll run into our storage and we'll make the pitfall. Probably. And then we got Tainted Lazarus, who apparently is getting a buff. So, you know, we're going to wait for that. Tainted Jacob too. Somewhat. But yeah, I'm having a good time playing him right now, because I played some today, because, you know, I'll be honest, I didn't do much work today, and, like, normally this is where, like, I did some drawing, I did some programming, I did a tiny bit of programming, and then I've done no drawing, basically, and I was just like, I can't be bothered, so I played some Binding of Isaac instead. You know that one, like, Shen comic, the Altered comic, or whatever, where it's just, like, you know, every day is like a balance. It's like making a sandwich. You got to have like a bit of everything, or bread, meat, and lettuce, that sort of thing. And he's like, today I did not make a healthy sandwich, and it's just like 2 pieces of bread and then just like 10 kilograms of meat, which is just labeled Netflix on it. I don't know. Go look it up. Like Altered or Shen Comics sandwich, and you'll probably find it. What can we sell? Oh, we should probably start selling some of these things, which we don't need to hold anymore. Because we don't have enough storage space in our inventory. Mermaid bed, let's keep that perhaps. So everything else. I forgot we're running out of storage space, which we'll need to clear out in a sec. But we don't need to bother ourselves with that quite yet, is my thought process behind it. Oliphant is a bit difficult to catch. We'll get fossils, and then we can give yeah, let's identify all 3 fossils, and we'll buy 3 pieces of gift wrap here, right? Seems okay to me. Yeah, it's all collection things. Like, once I reach the end of collecting things, maybe I'm just like, oh, that's it, I'm done. I've got my nice collection now. Now I can just look at it, and then I don't engage with it anymore, which doesn't really translate well to video games, because when you finish like collecting on unlocking all the different items in video games, now it's really the opportunities where you're like, now you can enjoy the game and its fullest, where you've got all these different items to mess around and play around with, and it's all good fun. Apparently we didn't know how to make that, huh? Oh, we have a seashell bed, not a mermaid bed, you're right. Which I think translates a bit better to physical objects, like things like plushies. You know, once you get a full collection set of plushies, you can put that on your wall. It's not like you need to like necessarily play with them. I mean, you can if you want, but That's, I suppose it's seen more like a childish activity, but if you know, who cares if it's a childish activity or not? It's just more like up to you if you want to play, you know, quote Lewis Carroll. When I was younger, I used to be afraid of, I used to read fairy tales in secret because I was afraid of what other people say. Now I'm an adult, I read them openly because you know, someone like, I don't care what other people think when I read a fairy tale. You know, I like to think I live somewhat to that motto, but it's, you know, difficult sometimes. I'm only human after all. I still have feelings about what people judge me for and that sort of thing. What do we need? Sticks and weeds, right? Sticks and weeds. I think it's sticks and weeds. So if you want to play with them, you can, but you know, it's not like it's a requirement. It's not like once you made it, you're like, oh, perfect. Now is the only time I can fully enjoy playing with the entire collection themselves. Sometimes you just want them as a decorative thing. Are you serious? We need one more tree branch. But yeah, I think it translates a bit better to physical objects. But what would I collect? That's a good thing, because there's a lot. Good point. Sorry, there's a lot of different plushie collections out there. Like one thing I want to collect is probably. I don't know what. Like in Japan, there's a lot of different plushies. I've talked about this numerous times before. They got the UFO machines, and they're all very, very fun to mess around with, and do enjoy interacting with them quite a lot. But one of my favourite plushies I got from these UFO machines is this like cuttlefish plushie. It's like this giant, really, really squishy and soft cuttlefish, and I wish it was my one, like, okay, not my one regret, my regret with relationship to getting plushies with UFO machines. Okay, so we'll get a mission for burying a pit in the fall, and you know, we're gonna walk into it too. Oh no, who could have seen this coming? Let me out, let me out, let me out, oh, my clothes are so dirty, and there's, who would put this here? Who would do such a thing? Anyway, sorry, that was really weird. Pity party. Just make sure, wild child troublemaker. Wild child, living loud, something, 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 something. Don't feel too bad, you'll get some bonus thing. Trapped, reckless one. You're trapped. There you go, the final achievements that we really needed to do. They're not quite final ones, but final cards. Let's go get some fossils. Let's put this Lily of the Valley down as well. What was I going to say? I forgot, to be honest. Excuse me? Yeah, it was these cuttlefish things. Like, obviously, I don't... I was going to say, like, my number one regret is not getting more of these cuttlefish plushies from the machines. That's obviously not my regrets. Like, I had a fantastic time when I went to Japan, but I do wish I went with more instead of trying to call these other ones. I should have stayed at that machine, waited for them to restock it and be like, alright, I'm going to do it again and get, like, multiple different colours of that something. Because I saw this really pretty, galaxy coloured one, which was just, like, sparkly. It looked like those space parkers, you know. But, it was on the cuttlefish sort of hoodie, and I was like, oh, a cuttlefish plushie, and I was like, oh, I really want that, but, you know, they didn't restock it. There was only a yellow one there, which I do like after all, and I do have this like tied-looking green one, which I thought was adorable as well. And I wanted to get all of them, but then I didn't. And then later, I went to like a different, I think I was in Ikebukuro, like near Sunshine City or something. And I saw it again, I was like, alright, why don't I get a different one? But this machine was harder than the other one to get because they had a much tinier, like, the way it worked, it was basically on these like two poles, and you basically had to knock it off to, the poles were arranged like not parallel to each other, so they like spread out a little bit. And the squid cuttlefish was balanced on the side where the poles were close together, and you had to basically push it with a claw always to the fatter side. The problem is with this machine is, I mean, they're all kind of scams in a certain sense. This machine was, it was like nearly impossible because of the way that how thick the gap was at the thick side. It was incredibly difficult to squeeze it through, so I wasted some money trying to get that done before I was like, it's not possible. So I gave up, and I was like, oh, if I could find that exact same arcade I went to where got the initial cuttlefish, and maybe I can get some more of them. But you know, it's not really a big deal. I'm sure I'll go back to Japan again someday because I have so much fun there as a tourist destination. Would I live there? No, probably not. I've had this conversation way before. No, I almost certainly wouldn't. But it was super fun, so I love to go back there. And if I do, I know what plushies I'm gunning for. You know, maybe I can actually try and find out what these plushies are called. I'm pretty sure they're called like cuttlefish-san or something. Japanese plushies cuttlefish, and then you can see them for yourself. Maybe they're not cuttlefish. Maybe they're squids. But if I search squid, it's just going to come up with a load of inklings, isn't it? Hold on, maybe I still got a label on it. Let me go look. I'll pause and look. He's called Mendagoken, and now that I looked at him properly, I actually realised he's based off he must be based off a Dumbo octopus that was like a viral meme sensation a while back. Yeah, he looks really similar to this one. He's not this one. Oh, he's this one. Dumbo octopus toy. Maybe? What did I say? Mendagoken. Yeah, there he is. Mendagoken. Mochipuni Mendagoken big plush collection. But he's so incredibly soft. I love him. He's adorable. There's 6 different colours. Ooh. Should have gone. Got that. What's that website where it's like the crane games? Toshiba crane game. Found this guy with a free ticket. Anyone know where he's from? Couldn't find anything online about Mendagoken. All I found were these online stickers. This is a mascot plush of an octopus character. We need to find another fossil, by the way. He's from ACNH, the same company that makes Rirakuma and Sumiko Gurashi. What the heck's Sumiko Gurashi? Ah, those things. This guy you won as a Dumbo octopus. He's a new character. 3 years ago. Jinbei is a whale shark. Wow, Jinbei. Jinbei-san. Ah, he's adorable too. Sanex, Jinbei, and Kokujira. Alright, well, if you insist. Thank you, random Redditor. Telling me about it. Oh, now this whale as well. It looks so squishy. But apparently, I was going to say, I wonder if they're on Toshiba. Oh, sorry, not Toshiba. That's a company. Toreba crane game, which you don't know is like some online crane game website where you can basically play big crane games remotely. Since we're not in Japan, I mean, you can get your prizes shipped to you if you really so desire. But it costs actual money, so you know, be careful. Don't gamble away, anything like that. Let's see. Toreba crane game. Let's see if we can find anything about Mendagoken. This could be my opportunity. This could be my redemption. I can get a whole collection of them. There's an app? I don't want an app. I want the official website. I gotta say, a lot of Japanese websites always look so sus to me. They look like they're made in the 2000s or something. Some of them. That download one I did was Spete. I want to search for specific ones. Do you have a search menu? Top. Or should I say if that's news? TP. Arigato ba? FAQ. Login. Support. Main page. Account. Ticket. Play. It's probably in play, I guess. I guess there's no search option. I had to log in now? You didn't used to have a login, you could just browse it before. Okay, well, I mean, that's something for future me to really ponder on. But yeah, like, I'm not going to collect stamps. For those other sort of things I'm going to collect, like those fluffy plushies that I want. Like, I know, you might say the obvious example for me to... Hold on, what's this insect? Emperor butterfly. That is doable, it's past 4 PM. You might say the obvious thing would be like, why don't you collect like video games or something? I'm not that into video games, as you might expect. I like video game design, and I like following the news of that sort of thing, or releases that I do like. But mostly I'm more interested in the design and mechanic side of it rather than the collector side of it. I'm not nearly as interested in history as you might think. I'm not sure if you would think, because I basically never talk about history. I talk about like, my history knowledge is basically nothing. I don't know like anything about ancient Romans, ancient Greeks, ancient like any other civilizations or empires. And it's not like I'm uninterested necessarily. It's just like not the thing I'm most interested in learning about. You know, there's only so many things you can learn about, and you have to pick and choose at some point. You know, history, it's not one of them for me, but, you know, if a friend wanted to tell me, be like, oh, listen to this really cool thing I found out about, you know, the Incan Empire or something, I'll be like, sure, I'll give it a listen to the best of my ability. Problem is, I don't have a lot of experience in the field anyway, so when we talk about things, be like, oh, you know about this, right? I'm like, nope, I have no idea what that is. Which you might say, doesn't that make you kind of ignorant? Yeah, and I guess in some aspects it does. But I feel like it's a bit of a, oh, look, Emperor Butterfly right there. I feel like it's a bit of an oversimplification of things, because it's not like, oh, you know, I actively, because I don't listen like to history podcasts or anything or read history books, I'm just like, oh man, I chose not to learn about anything. No, it's like, you know, I read about other things. So some things related to game design and art, animation. That's some of the things. Sometimes it'll be like maths, I suppose. Mostly it's like video game related things or animation and cartoon and stuff like that. which, you know, you might say, what's the point of that? And I'm like, well, what's the point of history? You know, and it depends on what uses you find for it yourself. So I feel like it's a bit of not disruptive, it's a bit reductive, I suppose is probably the word, to say it's useless or not useless, because, you know, everyone's got different likes and interests, so just like, look at what you like, why not? It's very clearly not why I wanted to place that game, so I don't know why you did that. See, I don't really know where I was going with that entire sentence, but there you go. Yeah, so maybe that's why I'm not so interested in like collecting stamps or coins. I don't have those historical like tidbits, which I think would really make it fascinating in the first place. I can't like look at a coin and be like, oh, this is from like the ancient Roman period, you know, that they use this coin for something, 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 and then I'd be like, whoa, cool. Instead, I'm just like, oh, it's a coin. I'm still annoyed this isn't transparent for no apparent reason, other than it just isn't. It's like, why? I mean, that's not the fault of the creative, mind you. It's the fault of Nintendo for making such a weird system with designs where it has to have at least 1 pixel of transparency for it to count as being a transparent object. You know, designers shouldn't have to deal with that in the first place, is basically my view on it, but still. And also Nintendo's fault for being like, oh yeah, you wanna, you know, slightly edit this design for your fit. Well, you can't, too bad, because you downloaded it off the internet. It's like, well, why don't you just like prevent me from uploading it in the first place and claiming it as my own? Well, no, that makes too much sense. You're not allowed to use this for personal use. You kidding me? You have to use it exactly as the designer envisioned it. Alright, Nintendo, I can't help but feel that's a little bit, you know, restrictive rather than enabling the creative visions that you feel like you want people to start making, and that's the whole point of the game. But that's neither here nor there, because they're not going to change it. So you know, you just kind of got to deal with it, to be honest. It's just the reality of the situation. And you know, there's bigger things to worry about in the world than the fact in Animal Crossing that I can't slightly edit designs to how I want. So I'm just gonna have these like weird poky out corners. But yeah, what was I talking about? Yeah, I know, stamp collecting, it's kind of cool. I probably want to round off this corner, don't I? It feels a bit cozy if I round off this corner. Not that one, this one. Doesn't it? I think so. You might disagree, but who are you to disagree? This part requires some thinking, so try and figure out where to put these diagonal patterns. Yeah, I don't know if I had another point. No, I don't think I did. Yeah, no, stamp collecting is the sort of thing which sounds cool. You know, people like to collect things, obviously, and for good reason. You know, sometimes you'll collect things about like souvenirs where you go to different countries. Actually, I kind of do that now. I think about it with plushies, because I try and buy a plushie from every country I visit, and I do have like a collection of them sort of over there in the corner of my bed. Not all of them, and I don't know where a lot of my plushies are, actually, to be honest. They've been lost at times, or perhaps somewhere in the attic, locked away, where, I don't know, someday in the future I'd like to, you know, if I somehow have luxury of having spare rooms in a house, you know, I'll get like some nice decorating stands out, and like how people show off like snow globes or like cups from other countries. I'm gonna have my plushie room where I've got all my souvenirs from other countries. Although, to be fair, I'm not much of a traveller in the first place, you know. I'm not extraordinarily adventurous in like the travelling sense. I'm adventurous in other things, to be honest. More so than you might expect. I'm very much the sort of person who's just like, oh, do you want to try this? Like, try this food or try this activity? I'm like, sure, why not? I guess. Not necessarily for everything, but I did select the wrong thing there. Not necessarily for everything, but I feel like most things I'd basically give a try at least once, you know? It's just sort of what I do. But maybe, I don't know, I could probably think of examples where that's not really the case, but that's neither here nor there. So yeah, stamp collecting was I don't know if I have any nice tying thoughts together with stamp collecting. I guess it's sort of cool. Like, these sort of collections are sort of representative of like different cultures around the world and different societies and that sort of thing, and experiences with them. We all have different stories to tell. Like, you know, you might get a stamp from like, I don't know, Zimbabwe or something, and you'll be like, oh, what's the story behind this? And the person who gave it to you can be like, oh, it was actually a really cool story behind this about some historical fact about Zimbabwe which you didn't know. It's, it's a nice way to sort of connect things. I guess it's representative is what I mean, is why stamp collecting is so cool. It's representative of a letter which, connects so well together through, not necessarily through language, but through communication in sorts. There's a much more nicer, wholesome spin on things in the world, which, we can certainly do with when we can, but of course that opportunity doesn't always necessarily come to pass. Yeah, I really want to edit this path. It looks so weird. But alas, what can I do? Except for copy it. I wonder if the creator of it has uploaded a QR code version of it, because I know there's an online editor for Animal Crossing which you can use to edit them. Hopefully I can find that again, and maybe I'll upload it. Not upload it myself, but I'll change it myself should I find the opportunity to. But for now, I think we'll round this episode up here. So I don't know, do you collect anything? Stamps, coins, snow globes, plushies, clothes, hats? That's a common one. T-shirts, anything like that. Bugs, insects, fish. Let me know. I'm interested to hear about it as we shoot down this. So if you have been watching, thank you very much. This has been Animal Crossing New Horizons, and I have been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares have been are greatly appreciated. What comes out of it? Join me Dear Darling Discord down below, or follow me on Twitter. I hope we can see each other again. But for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, as I exit out this menu. Bye bye for now.